Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of my creation critique series. In it, I'll critique your creations and give you advice on how to improve your building technique, Lua code, and logic. Then, I'll give each creation a total score from 1 to 10 based on an average from looks, functionality, cockpit, and bells and whistles. In this episode, we'll be checking out two very awesome builds, namely the B-29A Superfortress bomber by Cod Cape and the Paw CX 3rd Gen car from Paw Motors. As always, the builders will be linked in the description, so make sure to go check them out on the workshop. So the first creation is actually quite a bit bigger than the hangar itself, so I've had to go ahead and spawn it out on the tarmac right here as a mission. So here is the B-29A Superfortress bomber. Wow, this thing is absolutely massive. From the outside, I mean, this thing looks really good. I like how the fuselage is like really round. It's realistic. I also like this color as well. This silver color and all the panels here give it that nice look. It really feels like you could see some riveted metal here. What's that? Oh, that is a nice little air intake there. I like the detail with the fin right there. That just adds the extra little touch. And he's also got some emergency beacons right here on the propellers. That is nice. The curves on this thing are done super nice. This part right here is done super well. I love this little flap fin right here. From the outside, this thing is solid for sure. Look at, I like this little window right here. This is amazing. I've seen this design on a couple of other things, probably like some Chinook helicopters and stuff. But that is a cool little window design for like military aircraft and stuff. The tail curve is also done super nice. I feel like that's, a lot of people underestimate how hard that is to do, but that is a nice tail. These gears look really good. This forward one, I mean, it's nice, but I like the tread a lot better on these. But I'm assuming there's a reason that he included the forward gear in there. So I think what you're actually supposed to do is get up through this hatch right here. I didn't see any other doors out here. Actually, we could just use that little engineer's seat right here. So that's actually pretty useful. I'm glad he included that. And inside, we've got some, this is engineer's station, I'm assuming. Air valves, engine start, throttles, engine RPS, main power breaker, fuel pumps, coolant pumps, fuel gauges, reserve battery, various other compartment heaters. I don't know what these things are, cowl flaps, I'm not sure. Engine temps, battery, and a low battery indicator. Okay, so we've got some nice first person equipment in case there's a fire. Oh, I really like the fact that he actually used light switches in here instead of just buttons. That definitely adds like the old retro aesthetic. This is the radio operator's chair, so we've just got frequency up, frequency down, and push to talk there. I like these little paintable signs too. This is probably on a pivot somewhere, I'm guessing. This is for the tunnel lights, okay. This is the navigator's seat, so I'm assuming this is probably a map. I'm guessing that'll turn on if I just hit the main power breaker. Here is pilot and the co-pilot. Okay, so I guess they've each got a throttle. I'm guessing all of these are tied together. So co-pilot, we've got compass ball, artificial horizon, altitude gauge, flares, nose wheel steering, emergency beacon, normal radio stuff, and all of these lights, but I'm sure they don't turn on yet because we haven't flicked the power switch. Over on the pilot seat, we've got the parking brake, engine exploding system, not sure what that's for. Gear up, gear down, flaps up, flaps down. We've got altitude again, same artificial horizon, compass ball, fuel, airspeed. On the bomber seat, we've got some cool, it looks like we've got an option to arm every single rack that's below us, I guess. It's got some just gauges based on fuel, airspeed, altitude. That's probably good to know if you're dropping bombs. And then I'm assuming that if you open the bomb bays, the release bomb switch will probably open. I like this ladder right here. This is really cool that he decided to make a custom. I guess it's on this pivot right here. That is cool. That is a very good choice considering the rest of this aesthetic. I also really like the colors in here, like the earthy tones, the greens, the browns, and the grays really combine well together. It's a nice color palette. All right, let's head back on through this tunnel. Oh, and in here, I'm guessing we've got, okay, so I could just look through here. It's a nice little window. And we've got a gunner's seat here. So this spins just one. Okay, no, it spins both of these turrets. That's pretty cool. It's facing backwards. They've got a nice little... Oh, this is a cool stand he's got with the radar. That's cool. He's got the same style here with the emergency beacons, the fuel, rocket fuel containers, the same ladder, GPS sensors. I'm assuming this is just for show right here. I don't know if it actually does much. This is just indicator lights. I'm assuming this is also just not supposed to actually do anything, but it does look really cool. This is a sick view. The spotter seats, these two, it's from the windows that I was talking about earlier. These ones look really nice. It's got some nice wooden flooring here, batteries. It's a clutch for something. Maybe that's just decor. I don't know. Garbage bin there. Crew bunks, and this is okay. So this is gonna go all the way back to the rear gunner's seat. Okay, let me just turn this off. And I'm assuming this doesn't spin. No, but this will go up. Okay, that's not bad. I mean, that's pretty cool. You do get a really nice view though out of here. And oh, he's got a little seat there to help us get out. That is a nice touch. Let's see if we can get this thing going. All right, so starting with the engineer's seat, we have a list of things we have to turn on. So first thing we need is main power. That's gonna go on. Mixture level set to 1. So we're gonna put that all the way up to 1. We need air valves on, throttle lever up to 10. It's kind of fighting us on the way up. We can get that to around 10. Exhaust pumps, coolant pumps, and fuel pumps are also on. Cowl flaps on or open, so I'm assuming that just means push those buttons. Start the engines. At the first one, second one, third one, and there goes the fourth one. There we go. All the engines seem to be running. I think that is it for the engineer's seat. Let's head over to the co-pilot seat. Oh, these are tied. Okay, that's cool. Navigation lights on. Anti-collision lights. Okay, so just turn all the lights on. Cool. So this whole cockpit is now lit up. It's really cool sound here with the all four engines. All right, parking brake off. Engage thrust on. One on the keyboard. We're gonna go set prop pitch to 50%. Up, down on the keyboard. We'll just set it to, go ahead and set it to 100%. Taxi, engage thrust, throttle lever to 30, prop pitch. Okay, so pretty much we just push this thing up to max and we take off. It's going pretty slow. Is this actually gonna lift up? Oh, there we go. All right, and I'm just gonna wait until our tail is kind of clear to pull up. There we go. And we're gonna go ahead and rotate and head up to the sky. Let's go maybe for here. Just let the autopilot system while we're at it. All right, altitude hold. Let's hold at probably like 200 is fine. Altitude hold. Autopilot is gonna go to there, and we're gonna hit autopilot as well. We're gonna arm all of our bombs, and we're gonna turn on our bomb bays. So these two are gonna take a long time to unfold, but I'm assuming that is also meant to be realistic. Alright, I'm assuming that we're supposed to release the bombs in advance, so that way we know they hit something. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Oh, it took a little while to release there, but I'm not sure those are gonna hit our target. Okay, now it's gonna keep circling. Oh, they missed by a while. Okay. So our next creation is actually quite a bit smaller. It is the Paw CX 3rd generation by Paw Motors, and it looks like it's an electric car. And it looks like he's also put quite a bit of effort into the infotainment system that's inside. So I'll be happy to take a look at that. All right, so spawning it in, I mean, it looks good. I'll say that. I think that the white body of it looks really good. Style-wise, I probably wouldn't have done this. Maybe he's trying to fit in something here, but I just don't like the curve, combining the curve style with the kind of really sharp and rugged style. But aside from that, I mean, it looks good. No doubt about it. Got the little Paw logo on the front and on the back. I like this grill that he's got here from, oh yeah, this pattern looks amazing from far out. Spotlights in here. I like these little windowed in headlights. I'm assuming those light up. Same thing on the back. I'm assuming that these light up. He's got a backup camera there. So let's... Oh. So it even makes a sound when I head in. I like this door as well. He's got the pivot at a perfect point in the door, where it kind of... Some of the door goes into the vehicle. That's good. It's got a nice thickness to it. I like the black on the inside. I also really like this red, like velvet, almost Alcantara sort of thing. Hazard, SOS, microphone or speaker, and I'm assuming all the controls are on the driver's side. So let's go ahead and head over to the driver's side. So is there a key, charging hatch? That's neat that it's hidden away. It really contributes to the modernness of this whole thing. So to start, nice. So it even makes a sound. So this is, I guess, what he calls Paw OS 4, I think. This is the operating system inside all of his vehicles. Let's see if the headlights work now. Okay, there we go. Now I've got them working. And the back is also lit up perfect. So I'm guessing here is just a picture of the back of the car. It's supposed to be a road showing our speed, the charge on our battery. This is our park, drive, and reverse meter, and I'm not sure what that is. Maybe I'll find out later. This is weather, I guess. I have to spawn in the tower for that, which I haven't done yet. It's the map, pretty much just a basic zoom in, zoom out. This is gonna, I'm assuming, follow you around the map. So this is where I'm located, which is correct. So that's good. I like the colors on it. They're kind of like muted and nice. This is the phone, so I'm assuming you can just call anyone from here. I don't know if it really does anything. Settings. What do we got here? I'm assuming that's heating. This is... Okay, so this is... Oh, this is just a light. I'm not sure what this is. Maybe it's battery saving mode? Likely it is that. Not exactly sure what that is. I think this is like... Oh, yeah, this is a game of Pong, too. This is actually a cool how we got that in there. Oh, okay, well, I'm already up 2-1, so... And it's even got an AI. That is pretty neat. I'm assuming if I click on that again, it will reset. Perfect. That's amazing. All right. So I think it's in drive. The good thing about these electric cars is that you could just press the W key and you'll step on it. Let's see how fast it can go. There we go. So it's got a bit of a weird sound to it, but we're going pretty fast. We're already at 60 miles an hour. 70. And I'm assuming it's not going to go terribly faster than this. So like about 80 miles an hour. I'm guessing. Okay, so if you're in drive, it'll shift to reverse. And if you're in park, it won't shift anything. It'll just change the camera. Let's go back into reverse. The rear view camera on this thing is really cool. It would have been even cooler if this little trail here bent sideways. But I know that's probably a fair bit harder to do in Lua. First off, let me just give another big thanks to the builders who submitted their creations for this episode. But now, the time has come to really dive deep into improving them. Of course, take my opinion with a grain of salt because honestly, some of you guys are probably better builders than I am. For each creation, I have a rating system that gives a separate score for looks, how good the creation looks from the inside and outside, functionality, how well do all the systems work and how easy is it to get everything working properly, cockpit, how well laid out are the instruments and buttons used to pilot the vehicle, and finally, bells and whistles, where I take into account extra features or add-ons that set this creation apart. Creation number 1, the B-29A bomber, looks amazing from the outside. The silver color scheme stays true to an old-fashioned aesthetic, and the curves of the tail and wings are done quite well, which is actually pretty hard to do. Obviously, the cockpit looks great. The modded pipes are really the only way you can do this in Stormworks at the moment, but aside from that, all the windows are done very nicely on this bomber. On the inside, the earthy tones are appropriate and work well together as a color palette, and the extra little things like the light switches and the custom ladders are much appreciated. Where I think this build can improve is the front cockpit area. I wish all the edges were a little more smoothed out between the pilot's and bomber's seat. Another thing is that the onboard map could have probably been more adjusted to its surroundings. I didn't really like the stock colors, and the bright green buttons weren't great looking either. Overall, for the looks, I'd say give this build an 8.5 out of 10, a solid score for a solid creation. Functionality-wise, everything worked pretty much as expected. Obviously, I understand this is supposed to be a replica, so it's hard for me to judge whether or not this cockpit should or should not be simplified. Although for such a large creation, it wasn't so bad getting it up and running. The Navigator's map is not the best one out there, I just don't really like the bright green colors, but it gets the job done. One thing I would like to see is buttons for the pilot to engage and disengage the autopilot or altitude hold. The throttle levers did this weird thing where they constantly fought with each other to get to a certain number. I like that there were switches to turn on the lights instead of buttons. That really helped out the older theme. I like that all the turrets moved, and overall this creation turned out to be not as daunting as it appeared. I think it's hard not to give this creation a 9 out of 10. Everything works well except for a few tiny things that I wish were different. The cockpit has a bit of an unusual layout, but if this is how it is in real life, who am I to say it's wrong? Now the pilot and co-pilot seats are pretty far from each other, making it hard to reach all the separate lighting options from the pilot seat. I guess this plane would be more fun with several players though. I found that the seats were a little far from the front glass, so it's kinda hard to see where you're going. Although I appreciate the fact that every player has an occupation and there are lots of seats to go around. In all, I'd give the cockpit an 8 out of 10 for what it is. Obviously it's supposed to be historically accurate, so I don't dock too many points for not having any fancy instruments or displays. Although I think Lua screens with an older style might have looked very nice. In terms of bells and whistles, this plane has a bunch of bombs ready to drop at any moment. Well, almost any moment, because the bomb bays take forever to open up, but I guess that's realistic as well. I like how you can release different bombs when you want and not just dump all of them at the same time. The turrets are cool little extras too. They don't light up or anything, but instead they offer a different point of view out of the aircraft. This creation has some bells and whistles, but it lacks a bit of flair. It just does what it needs to do without too many extra features, which can be a good thing for simplicity's sake. Overall, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10 in this category. Taking the average of these scores, 8.5 in looks, 9 in functionality, 8 in the cockpit, and 6.5 for the extra features, we get a total of 8 out of 10, which is a very good score overall. Thanks so much to Cod Cape for letting me review his creation. The link to his workshop will be in the description, and let's move on to the next one. Creation number 2, the Paw CX electric car, is very hard to compare to the previous bomber, mainly due to its size and complexity. From the outside, it looks good. The paint block details all look really nice. I especially love the way he made the grille at the front. The red interior also took me by surprise, in a good way. I think where this car falls short is the lack of detail on the exterior. It still looks great, but if you compare it to some other cars in the workshop, it just doesn't match the amount of paint blocks and modded blocks used. Obviously, he was trying to hide a battery, but I also didn't love the mix of curved and straight lines on the back. Overall, I'd give this car a 7 out of 10 for looks. Now, functionality is where this car takes the cake. The OS 4 system that he's got inside is one of the best I've seen in the game, period. It works without any lag, displays all your data, and even lets you play a game of Pong. You can tell the car was made to be easy to drive to anyone. It starts up and you're ready to go. The color scheme in the main Lua screen is also super clean and minimalistic, and if you spawn in the weather tower as well, you're really in for a treat. Overall, I give this car a rare but well-deserved 9.5 out of 10 on the scale for functionality, just because there are a few tiny things I think he could improve. That being the map colors, which I thought were kinda dark, and the rear view camera, which I would have loved to see the lines curve from side to side like on a real car. Either way, an amazing job done by Paw Motors. The cockpit pretty much falls into the same category as what I just talked about. The screens are great, but I think he could have put more buttons and switches to add to the interior. All in all, I'd give the cockpit an 8 out of 10 because although it's good, there's nothing outstanding about the layout or seating arrangement. Finally, bells and whistles. This car has a few extras like low battery mode, the Pong game, and the weather tower, which are all nice features, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't offer anything crazy, so I'll have to give it a 7 out of 10. In total, the Paw CX gets a score of 7.9 out of 10. What do you know? I swear I didn't fix any of the numbers, they just came out like that. For any of you wondering, it's not that the car was the same as the bomber, they are just different creations. You can't compare an 8 out of 10 bomber to a 7.9 out of 10 car. I think maybe making a bigger off-road truck or crawler would be a good idea with this car OS system that he's developed. Thank you to Paw Motors who let me review his car for the episode, as well as Cod Cape again. Hopefully you guys enjoy this content. I'd be happy to make more if you'd like. This is the end of my video for now, so I'll see you guys in the next one.